Hello, this is Emran Shibishi, and this is SPC Gold Star. Our World Cup show continues. Today, we're just going to quickly talk about Group G's games. Brazil beating Switzerland 1-0 behind the Casemiro volley, a beautiful volley, and Cameroon tying 3-3 with Serbia. So, I mean, entering this Brazil game, not having Neymar, made them adjust how they played. I thought personally, that they would go with Grimares, bring him in, and then move Paqueta a bit, bring him in the Neymar role and keep Paqueta in his role, or even bring in Rodrigo and keep Paqueta in his role. But Tite decided to play with multiple holding midfielders against Switzerland. I don't know why, but he realized it was a mistake halfway through and fixed it. But for me, I gotta be honest, I was a bit more impressed with Switzerland than I was with Brazil, because we know the quality Brazil has. I mean, eventually with the quality that they had, they kept on penetrating. Eventually, that they were kind of capitalize. But I thought the Swiss were kind of impressive. They didn't get any shots on target, but they were able to hold the ball for long periods in the game. I think the possession was nearly 50-50, which is hard to do against a Brazil team. And they were able to, on certain moments, spring out with Mbolo. They came in playing for a draw. You're going against Brazil. They came in playing for a draw. They came in defensive. And I thought they played to their game plan very, very well. And I was impressed with the Swiss. I really was. And Brazil, I think in the first half, they lacked a lot of penetration, which was a little bit kind of similar to what happened in the Serbia game. They lacked penetration. They lacked that player to play in between the lines, which Neymar is brilliant at. Neymar is one of the best players in the world at. And someone to go into those pockets and to create, which is Neymar, what he's brilliant at. And I think it got better, though, when they brought in Grimares. Grimares played that ball into Vinicius on the goal that he was offsides for, or not, he wasn't offsides, Richarlison. Someone a little bit more creative, a little bit more, someone who play the ball in between the lines, play the ball in dangerous areas, think forward, look forward, which you don't really get from a midfield made with Fred and Casemiro and Paqueta. Paqueta is the most creative player in that midfield, for me, if you're playing as a Brazilian team, I think you just need a little bit more creativity in there, which Grimares provided once they got into that second half. So I think this was controlled, measured performance from Brazil. We were wondering, are they gonna end up finding the breakthrough moment? They struggled last time in the World Cup when they played against the Swiss. But I thought, for me, I was impressed with the Swiss, and this is really what I expected from Brazil. But it is a little. If you're a Brazilian fan, you should be a little worried about the fact that, 2 games in a row for the first 55, 60 minutes, y'all lack that. Brazil, we lack the penetration, any sort of playing between the lines, creativity, getting the ball into the box, making something happen. There was a lack of that in these first 60 minutes in the first 2 games, which is something that should be a little bit concerning. But at the end of the day, Brazil's quality took over, and what a strike by Casemiro! What a strike! Holding midfielders normally are not able to strike the ball as sweetly as that. I mean, he caught that on the volley. There might have been a slight deflection, but it is what it. But I mean, the strike was absolutely phenomenal. You saw Jan Sommer's face, who was a brilliant goalkeeper, by the way, and made a couple good saves throughout this game to keep Swiss alive. So yeah, for me, a little bit more impressed with the Swiss, because they had a game plan and they were able to execute it despite that they didn't get the win. A point would have been huge for them entering that Serbia game. But for Brazil, calmed, measured, and was able to find that breakthrough. And once they were able to find that breakthrough, it was going to be a smooth sailing for there, because they are the Brazilian national team. Just look at these players. For me, another thing too, I think Rafinha should not play. Just saying. I'm not even trying to be biased because I'm a Chelsea fan, but Rafinha, these first 2 games, the first game, he's missed a lot of easy opportunities that he should have put in the back of the net. In this second game, I thought he was nowhere to be seen. I thought Rafinha should not be a starter for the Brazilian national team. I personally would bring in Gabriel Jesus, who, by the way, real quick on him, he went from being the star, not being the star at last Copa America and being the starting number 9 for Brazil, to now being a player off the bench, just like that, which is I'm a little confused by that. I'm not gonna lie. I know Richarlison has had his rise into the Brazilian national team. But I think Gabriel Jesus should be getting a little bit more respect because he was one of their best players at the last Copa America, and he was our number 9 at the 2018 World Cup. So, hopefully he gets more involved in this setup as we go into the knockout stages. And we'll move on real quick to Cameroon, Serbia. That was a very interesting game. I'll admit this is the first game I actually missed. I missed because I wasn't able to wake up for, but I didn't wake up for this one. But I saw the highlights and I saw some extended highlights. It looked like a very up and down game. Abu Bakr changed it when he came in. Serbia got the lead, I think, multiple times, and Cameroon were able to respond. But yeah, this is honestly a huge loss though for Serbia. I mean, for Cameroon, it's also huge that they didn't get the 3 points because sitting on 1 point and entering a Brazil game, that's not the situation you want to be in. But Serbia, I think this was a massive, because you got to take advantage against the teams that you are superior against. And when you look at the teams on player and when you look at the quality entering the tournament based on the games played entering the tournament, Serbia are the much better team, and you got to take advantage of these opportunities, especially coming off a loss against Brazil. So the fact that they dropped points here means that entering that Serbia-Switzerland rematch from the last World Cup, the game that determines who moves on second in this group, Serbia is going to need all 3 points. Serbia is going to need all 3 points. And it could have been even worse for them. If Switzerland were able to get a point against Brazil, which was like 5 minutes away from happening, then they would have relied on, then Serbia would need to beat Switzerland and hope their goal differential covered it. But that didn't happen. So right now, Serbia, all they got to do is get the 3 points against Switzerland, which is going to be a tough task because we've seen what Swiss can do. They can relieve the pressure on them by being able to control the ball a bit, just like they did against Brazil. And they only need a point, kind of like the U.S. and Iran situation. They only need a point while Serbia needs to go for all 3. So it's going to be a very, very good matchup. And I chose Serbia to make it out beforehand. And I'm still kind of stick with that because I think that they'll be able to find a breakthrough through maybe a Milinkovic-Savic or a Vlahovic, who should be starting this next game. I know he's been injured and all, but he should be starting this next game. I think his ability to play in tight spaces, his flair as a number 9 will be beneficial against a Swiss team that'll be playing a low block. Mitrovic getting balls in. He scored the first goal at the last World Cup when they played Switzerland. I think getting the ball, making him testing out the Akanji and the other center backs for Switzerland is going to be key. So I think Serbia will find that early breakthrough, which will force Swiss to come out of their shell, and then Serbia will have a chance to hit them on the counter. But it's the same situation with Senegal, Ecuador. Senegal needs 3 points, Ecuador needs 1, USA needs 3 points, Iran needs 1. These are hard situations to be in because you're going to play against a team that's kind of bunker town. Less so with Ecuador and Senegal, more so with the games of Iran and USA and Serbia and Switzerland. It's a hard situation to be in when you need all 3 points and the other team needs 1, because they can start out from minute 1, bunker down and play a defensive battle and make you try to break them down. So it's going to be tough for Serbia, but I think Serbia will have the quality to get it done. So I have Serbia moving on, and Brazil will take care of Cameroon to win the group.